What's up, everyone? My name is Gothix, and for today's video, I have the unfortunate displeasure of reacting to the first episode of Everything's Gonna Be All White, which is a deep dive into America's past and present through the experiences of people of color. The docu-series marries humor with history as it confronts the facets of racism, exploitation, and discrimination that contributed to the formation of America. Now, if you didn't catch my reaction to this trailer, it's already uploaded on my YouTube channel. I recommend checking it out. Ironically enough, my reaction video has more upvotes than the actual video that was released on the Showtime's YouTube channel. That should tell you something about how the general consensus feels about this docu-series, but evidently, they don't care. And how do I know this? Because Amanda Seales, who I think was probably the most hateful in this entire trailer, actually blocked me on Twitter. Not only did she block me, she then proceeded to say that if black people have an issue with this show, they are coons. Oh, here we go. Where have I heard that before? And this is the point that I'm trying to make, is when you say that something is created from the perspective of black people, and then I as a black woman say I reject this, as well as other black folks saying they also reject this, then you're not really speaking from the perspective of a black person. You're speaking from the perspective of a black leftist. That's different. This is political propaganda. This has nothing to do about amplifying black voices and educating people on the real history of black America. It's nonsense, and it's actually a slap in the face to people that marched during the civil rights era for you to then turn around and talk about this garbage. Now, despite her blocking me, I still wrote an open letter to her. I hope she'll see it. Maybe she has already and she doesn't care. It's whatever. But I wrote something for her, as well as other people that are watching this interaction, to know that we shouldn't be fighting hate with more hate. We shouldn't be complaining about racism and then being racist ourselves, okay? Don't be like Amanda, all right? They've already been hateful, and from what I've seen in this documentary, let's not add to it. So, Amanda, if you're watching this, I know you are, because you blocked me. If you're watching this, listen, there are ways to fix this, but you have to be the person to take that first step. And I believe we can fix this. I guess let's get into it. I have my coffee right here that I will sip, and hopefully I won't spit it out in the process. Let's go. Rated M for mature. Interesting. I wonder why. Adult content, adult language, and violence. Okay? It's gonna be violence to my eyeballs. Let's lower this a little bit.
This is a tale of two Americas. One white, one not.
Shut up.
And of countless dreams too long deferred. We're going to be taking a hard look at white America from the perspective of people of color. Many different people of color. Okay. And there's no better place to begin than January 6, 2021.
Oh, stop it. Okay. First of all, I'm intrigued. You said many different people of color. If there's not political differences, I don't want to hear it. Okay. And also, when people keep beating January 6th into your head, what they're trying to do is get you obsessed with that date. And what that date signifies, some people will say, oh, this signifies just MAGA and racist Republicans. No, what it signifies is people going against the government, and they want to discourage that. Pay attention to that. They want to discourage political dissonance. They want to discourage people from going against an establishment, regardless of what side it is. That should concern you if they keep beating this into your head. There are way more traumatic things that happened than January 6th, but they keep trying to paint this as a terrorist act, as a deadly act. No. I know what you're doing, Showtime. Stop it.
I've got a question for you. Is there any person here that actually thinks that Joe Biden won this election?
No.
We're gathered together in the heart of...
At this point, you can't even defend Biden anymore. Even if you legitimately think that this election wasn't stolen, which it was, you cannot deny that he is bombing as a president. And I think it's intentional, but that's a different story.
You may have told yourself some bullshit like, this is not who we are.
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
But if you're a person of color, you were probably making dinner,
Get the f*** out of
washing
here.
your car,
Shut the
or doing some other regular shit, because none of this is new. White folks throw hissy fits every time they're feeling fragile. And these days, they're feeling fragile as shit.
Because there weren't black people at the Capitol 6, right? Right? January 6th, there wasn't black people there? None? Zero? Shit. Hold on. I have to say something very ironic right here. Very, very, very ironic. The reason that people stormed the Capitol, if that's what you want to call it, walked in casually. The reason that they stormed the Capitol was because they know, and I know, our freedoms are on the line. Our freedoms are being slowly taken away. And if you're someone that doesn't see it, you're probably, I would guess, you're probably someone that's compliant. You're probably someone that's going with the flow and you're not paying attention because our freedoms are being stripped from us under the guise of safety. COVID. All these bills that they're passing. You paying attention? Yeah. But listen to that point. Only white people are storming the Capitol because they care about their freedom. So you're saying that black people had other things to do. Black people didn't care about their freedom. They were at home making dinner. That's what you're saying. I find it ironic that they are talking about freedom and suggesting that only white people care about freedom. Ooh, man.
Something. White people can burn down a city after the Super Bowl, and they're called unruly fans. White people can riot at the Capitol without fear, but let more than 5 black people gather at a barbecue in the park, and the riot police will roll up on horses like it's the Planet of the Apes.
This is the problem with these people that will preach this nonsense, is they'll over-exaggerate things and to make it sound worse than it actually is. If we're going to compare riots and burning peaceful protests of 2020, oh, trust me, you guys were allowed to burn stuff and riot. Okay, you guys were allowed. In fact, your elected officials were bailing you out. So it's a false comparison.
I don't believe there's such a thing as a little white lie. I think a lie is a lie. To use the phrase a little white lie means that if you tell the white lie, it's better than telling any other kind of lie because it's a white lie.
Yo, this is this is the mental gymnastics of this. They are trying so hard to extract the racism. They're like, we're gonna find this racism somewhere in here. We're gonna find it. This is so crazy. It's projection, and trying to find the racism out of thin air. Oh, you guys are annoying.
That little white lie could very well be American history.
Shut up.
The intent of distorting history is because if you keep people disempowered and not thinking that they have any self-worth, then they are easier to manipulate. The idea is that, you make us the enemy. It's all propaganda.
No, oh. So fun fact, a Marxist strategy is utilizing propaganda, but also accusing the other side of using propaganda. And I'm not necessarily saying right versus left. I'm talking about the commies versus the people that, don't want to live under a communist regime, right? They'll slander the other side, and it's sort of like hiding things in plain sight. So listen to what these people are saying. They're putting an equivalent equivalent here of someone doing a book burning, right? And did we not watch a bunch of activists take down monuments in parks? Did we not see that? Did we not see a bunch of people defacing all of these statues for the last few years? We haven't seen that. All of this effort to rewrite history and teach the new history, that means that they want control of the narrative going forward. If you can control that, you can basically socially engineer society to do what you want, to think in a certain way. And that's what they're trying to do. And it's crazy that they're calling that propaganda, but not this video right here. This is propaganda. They're lying to you. Before I became a Trump voter, okay, I'm not going to sit there with a flag and idolize the guy. I'm not going to wear his merch, none of that. I voted for him because I was sure as hell wasn't going to have the other guy in office, but look how that turned out. Secure election. It was a joke. I have hung around a lot of MAGA voters, MAGA supporters, and they are so much more kind than what I've experienced around BLM supporters. As a YouTuber, I read a lot of comments about this. A lot of Black people that are in my position where they don't support BLM or they voted for Trump, they'll say the same thing. So that tells me that it's not an issue of Black versus white, it's an issue of attitude and conflicting ideologies.
I've never in my life seen anything like it ever. People fucking for real going ham. I saw Confederate flags waving all in my face. Oh. And there's people screaming.
Oh, it was in your face. You saw a flag. Oh no, the flag. Oh, you probably saw it with your eyes. It hurt your eyes. Oh, you poor thing.
It's super important when it comes down to who's telling the history, because as we've seen throughout history, whoever is in power can control the narrative.
Again, if you look at all of these activists the last few years taking down monuments, we got critical race theory that's in schools. Oh, I'm sorry. Some people say critical race theory isn't in schools, but then you can't criticize it. Make up your mind, right? And that aims to teach people the true history of Black Americans. It's propaganda. The people that this guy is talking about, he is technically on that side. He is helping facilitate exactly what he's talking about. These people are going to have a rude awakening.
White folks' lies about history go back centuries, few more powerful than those about Jesus. Because you can justify almost anything if God's on your side.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
Nobody's searching that. Nobody is searching that.
Thank you, Jesus, that Joe Rogan went to Texas, got the fuck out of LA in a fucking liberal and fucking elitist agenda.
Thank you, white Jesus. I know that you would never let me down.
Amen. What? What the fuck? Who did this? Who did this?
Okay. I don't know where this is going, but I'm going to give my analysis of this. It's actually quite irritating to me. Okay, so at the beginning of this, they're suggesting that white people get the okay to do whatever they want because they follow white Jesus. So here's the first thing. Whether it's white Jesus or Black Jesus, the Bible is the same. So if a white person is getting the okay to do whatever they want because they follow white Jesus, what does that mean about Black people that are following Black Jesus? Because again, the Bible is the same. So what is it you're actually saying about followers of Christ? What is it that you're saying? What this documentary is doing is they're trying to villainize Christianity. And it's crazy to me because for the last few years, I kept hearing we're in the middle of a spiritual warfare. I wholeheartedly believe it because there are a lot of things built on the foundation of Christianity. This in particular, this debate of whether or not Jesus is Black or white, that information is irrelevant. God doesn't want us to focus on the skin color of Jesus. That's not the point. And that should already tell you that these people who are talking about Christianity, I don't think they're Christians. I think that this is just a ploy to villainize Christianity because social justice, BLM, critical race theory, communism, these things cannot survive with Christianity.
Ain't no way in the world Jesus walked around with blonde hair and blue eyes.
And whether that's true or not, and
Next.
can we get back to the gospel?
His identity is one of the most disputed identities in the world. And who gets to decide the identity of this person that, existed 2,000 years ago?
Little whitewash.
You apparently.
Give you a little just.
Yeah,
When
you.
in fact-
You. Oh man, this guy. No wonder. They didn't show him in the trailer for this series, and it's for a good reason, because a lot of people have caught on to the fact that this race hustler is banking off of these nonsensical, divisive theories to split this country in half. This guy, he's an author of Being an Anti-Racist, and if you actually read some of the rhetoric in his anti-racist book, it is racist. Anti-racism is a subgroup of critical race theory. Self-proclaimed anti-racist use methods of critical race theory to substantiate their points. We can see that by looking at a few quotes from Dr. Ibram Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. Here's the first one. There is no neutrality in the racism struggle. One either allows racial inequities to persevere as a racist or confronts racial inequities as an anti-racist. There is not an in-between safe space of not racist. The claim of not racist neutrality is a mask for racism. So what you're saying is if I randomly were to point at a white person and call them a racist with no proof, and they responded by telling me that's not true, that somehow confirms that they are in fact racist? Are you fucking kidding me? He wants you to openly discriminate against your neighbor. Again, this is where I say Christianity and anti-racism, all this woke stuff, these things do not mix for this reason.
Religion has been significant for the nurturing of white supremacy. It provides a justification for understanding whites as being on top.
The idea that he would have enslaved 300 other people and was using the labor of those people for his benefit alone, in the worldview of this indigenous brother, that is shameful.
Indigenous people have also enslaved other indigenous people. What this documentary is doing is funneling all of the anger and bitterness. Again, bitterness is something that is a sin in the Bible. Here we go. It does not work. It's a confliction. What it's doing is it's funneling all of the bitterness towards white people by shielding the rest of the information. Think of it of like a review on Yelp. You want to go check out this restaurant, so you go on Yelp and you see, oh, there's just positive reviews. So you assume that the restaurant is good. But what if I told you that 100 negative reviews were removed from that page? You might change your opinion about that restaurant, right? This is exactly what it's doing. It's removing all of the other historical context and moving your head in this direction to look at this thing specifically, which is just throwing all of your bitterness on white people. They're burning the laptop because Joe Biden said we couldn't figure out how to get on it. So there's no need for that technology anymore.
My name is Nell Painter, the Edwards Professor of American History Emerita, Princeton University, who went to art school late in her 60s. She graduated, I graduated from the Rhode Island School of Design in 2011.
Oh, no fucking wonder! Hi, neighbor! Oh man, I'm so happy I never went to college. I would have come out like this.
Should white Americans feel any responsibility for slavery? You know, they might not be responsible for slavery, but they're definitely responsible for their actions and the way that they treat other people of color.
So should black people be responsible for the peaceful protests of 2020? Gang violence is pretty bad. I don't know if you looked at Chicago lately. It's not doing too good. Not doing too hot. What can black people be held responsible for? I'm being sarcastic, by the way. I don't think any group of people should be responsible for something that a select individuals have done.
White people are always telling black people to get over slavery. But white people have never gotten over losing the Civil War. They're the ones stuck living in the past.
I don't hear no white people complaining about the Civil War, but I can walk outside and find 10 black folks that are complaining about slavery and oppression. Not equivalent, ma'am. Not equivalent at all. And I am also someone that will say, get over slavery. Get over something that you never experienced yourself. You weren't out picking cotton in the fields.
Those are meant to testify to the ongoing importance of whiteness and white supremacy, right? They are physical reminders that they may have lost the war, but they have maintained control. It is a way of signaling without words to black populations, watch your step, this is still ours.
That's called projection. That is paranoia, my friend.
My earliest memories of racism were seeing how people interacted with my father, who was Afro-Peruvian. And my father would be doing the yard work, and the white neighbors would complain at him, saying that he was washing his car at the wrong times or that his equipment was too loud. And my father, who was just such a gentle man, he would walk away. But I began to just see this system that not only mistreated my father because of the melanin in his skin, but also because he was an immigrant.
My parents weren't necessarily the types of...
Before I continue with that, notice in her memory of this in her childhood, she's talking about something that happens to every person. Now, I wasn't there. I wasn't with her when this happened, but I did not hear anything to do with race. I just heard about a nosy, annoying neighbor. Surprise! We all got those, okay? So what system are you talking about? This idea that if you are brown, it makes you more susceptible to asshole neighbors?
There's been homeless veterans in the United States since the Civil War. So stop pretending like you care about the military. Just admit you don't like foreigners.
I like foreigners when they come here the right way, the legal way. There are people that help homeless veterans. And just because it's not always publicized doesn't mean that that help isn't being provided.
A lot of people, when they think about who is an American, and for that matter, who deserves to have access to what the American dream is, however you want to quantify that, it's often not us.
No. How dare you? How dare you with your own show on a massive platform say, oh man, how disgusting. Like I said in my reaction video to the trailer for this, if you wanted to take over another country, the easy way to do that without drawing attention to yourself would be to corrode it from the inside out by causing its citizens to hate the very place they live in. If you listen to this video, the core message is we are black and we hate this place. It is bad for us. People like this are going to be more willing to hand over their freedoms to a foreign enemy and say, you know what? Yeah, I don't like it here. Everything here is bad. It doesn't work for me. These people are being used. This is all about politics. That is it. Oh man, you have to be so blind to not see that this is happening. And with your own,
do you think the American system
celebrities
sees us
saying
as
this?
Americans?
That's a loaded question. Like, I feel like there's times where you can feel great about America, there's times you can feel bad about America. And I think if you're like educated about it, or if you're just in tune with your experiences, ain't too many myths. You know, you kind of like see the other side, you know, like you live in the light and you live in the shadows. You know, you can see that shit. But if you're asking if we can access all the things in America, like very clearly not. Like, no.
Huh? What? What can't you access? I need information. What?
I definitely identify as an...
No. Go back. I want to know what. What do you not have access to? What is it? You just gonna say it? What is it? Here's why they don't say it. because there are solutions to obtain those things. Because as I've pointed out many times, we have the people that accept that life is hard and things are going to be difficult and there are going to be roadblocks and there are going to be obstacles, but it is your responsibility to overcome. And I believe I've overcome them. If there is systemic racism and white supremacy, I don't hear about it. I don't see it because I'm too busy focused on my own life, on figuring out how to navigate this very difficult world. So when people say that, oh yeah, there are resources that Black people don't have access to, the reason that they're not saying it is because they don't want someone like me to say, oh, okay, this is how you do it. Because then the complaining would have to stop.
The issue for me is not the nationality, it's the culture.
That's why I think being American is like not only being a person who wants freedom.
So the culture is an issue for you. You know what I have an issue with? The infantilizing and glorifying of gang violence and promiscuity. That's the type of culture that I really hate. But go on, sis, go on.
White people have to stop lying about having an advantage.
There is no white privilege. There is no white privilege.
How would you explain white privilege to a white person who doesn't believe he or she has white
privilege? No, I'm sorry.
What they don't understand is that it's them being given the benefit of the doubt in everything. The benefit of having their full humanity always seen. The benefit of the fact that when they walk into a room, especially in a professional setting, people aren't playing that game and wondering how they got there.
Show me the data for this. Show me the data. What research are you using to come to this conclusion? Right now, there's a lot of projection. There's a lot of feelings. Where is the data? Show me the stats, boo-boo. Where is it? Give it to me. Come on. Come on. Where? We can talk about Black privilege, but I don't think these people are ready for that conversation.
That happens to us no matter how many degrees we have behind us, no matter what our resume says. People still trying to figure out how we got there.
She is assuming that when I go in with my resume for a job offer, they're wondering, how did this Black girl get here? How did this Black girl? No. Oh, this is just feelings.
That is part of the privilege of being white, is always being valued.
What annoys you about white people?
I think what annoys me most about white people.
It's my friend that blocked me. Hi, Amanda. It's me again. I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. Oh, Amanda.
Is the feigned ignorance that their whiteness is not a problem for everybody else. Like, you know that everybody else is not getting what you get, and why are you acting brand new? It's when they pretend like they're the victim. That's when I can't take it. What's also annoying is when they kill us. That's annoying.
It's not annoying when Black people kill other Black people? That's not annoying to you? I find that very annoying. The fact that a lot of young kids are being gunned down or being caught in the crossfire. That's very annoying to me. Oh, but when the white people do it, now it's a problem. And you want to call people like me coons for having opposition to this. No, I have opposition to your selective outrage, Amanda.
White fragility is crying because you were accused of racism versus acting on challenging yourself to be not racist. White womaning. Thank goodness that we came up with Karens, so we can finally say, hey, you, this is a unique form of white bullshit that white women are employing.
I hear you have a problem with these gentlemen having a barbecue here at the lake. What's going on?
It's illegal to have a charcoal grill in the park here.
These are called brown nosers. They're not Karens, they're called brown nosers. I've already gone over this situation on my reaction video to this trailer. But people like this, they're this types of people of all races. And they just want to be brown nosers. They want to be nosy. However, the people on the recording end, the people that find this video trending, will inject race into it because they see a white person interacting with Black people. It must because they're racist. No, this is creating more racism out of thin air based on your personal feelings. She's approaching us because we're Black. See, there's other people here, but she approached the Black people. Some people are just brown nosers, and some people do it at random. These videos, to me, are a sign of people that have a skewed perception of the world and think that all of the inconvenient or bad things that happen to them is the result of them being judged because of their skin color or their gender or some type of superficial attribute. They think that these things couldn't possibly happen to someone else. Videos like this serve nothing except adding more fuel to the fire. Let's keep it rolling.
Call the police on black people, right? Those are also the people who date black people to absolve themselves of their racism.
I'm trying to process the fact that she thinks people in interracial relationships are doing so because they want to absolve themselves of something. Yes, oh, y'all need Jesus. You do. You do.
All of you are Karens. Every single last one of you.
Without the cell phone, you have some white women saying, that's the one, he did it. What you have now is a continuation, not necessarily at the end of a rope, but perhaps at the end of a police officer's gun, is the dismantling of black bodies based upon the faulty word of a white person. Different time, different technology, same outcome.
No. Again, going back to these Karen videos, these are created with the assumption that someone is being targeted specifically because of their skin color. It is manifesting racism out of thin air. It is the ignorance of the person that is scrolling on the timeline that isn't capable of asking the right questions.
What is fragile about whiteness when everything has been constructed around it? What floor under you are you worried about being taken away?
Your right to speak, your right to question things without being called racist. And this is where I think, if we want to call them Karens, sure, whatever, but this is where I think that body cams are going to be a thing that is more common amongst Karens, because in the same way that the Me Too movement can be abused, it's the same thing is happening with these videos that pop up talking about racist Karens just calling the cops on innocent black people. We never see what happens before the camera rolls, and we're automatically taking the word of the person behind the camera.
I was on the subway and this black woman, she was yelling at her kid. And I remember it's just like a sight, and I'm being judgmental when I say this, but I remember the kid is like, she's just screaming on him, calling him a motherfucker and shit like that. And I'm feeling like she's a bad mom. And I felt embarrassed at the same time. I was mad at her and embarrassed. You know, I was
embarrassed as a black person.
Yeah. And I talked to a white coworker that I was on a train with, and I was like, yo, do white people have that? Like when I see another black person and they're doing something I think is like kind of fucked up, or they're fucked up, I feel that connection to them. Like I feel like sad for him, or mad at them, or I want to help them, or even sometimes I want them to get the fuck away from me, and I feel a sense of guilt wanting them to get the fuck away from me. And I'm like, do you have that? He's like, nah. And I didn't understand it. How come white people don't feel that? And I'm like, oh, because white is made the fuck up.
Your coworker didn't feel that, is the more appropriate response. When I speak as an individual. I don't say we as black people. Not everyone is going to be connected to each other just because we share the same Pantone shade. You know what that sounds like? The millions of people marching in the streets for George Floyd. I don't know the guy. Didn't know him. Has nothing to do with my life. Nothing to do with me. That is the mindset of thinking as a collective and not as an individual.
It's part of the identity of whiteness not to have a racial identity, to be an autonomous individual, to be only responsible for yourself.
Yes.
If there were anything that I wish black people could succeed in teaching Americans in general, it's the sense of solidarity.
No, absolutely not. You keep your solidarity over there, you maniac. No, thank you. I can get behind being in solidarity in terms of uniting the country on being an American. Being an American is not something specific to a certain color, because I think we can all agree that freedom is a good thing. Our rights, our human rights are a good thing, okay? But I am not going to stand in solidarity with people that don't know when to stop complaining. Black people are free in this country and we have the same resources as any other person. And what people in this documentary are looking for is perfection. No microaggressions, no white privilege, no anything that I think could somehow affect my life, even though there are lots of other Black people that have been able to overcome all of these same obstacles we're complaining about. I will not stand in solidarity with people that position themselves as victims. I have no desire. If there's an obstacle, you figure out how to get over it. It's called life. If you really wanted to help people, here's my point. You would be celebrities in here. You would be speaking to your people. You would be telling them, hey, I know the whiteness is such a bad thing, but let me show you how I got here. Let me show you how I did it. Instead, no, you're telling them the opposite, that you can't do it. And this is a system of white supremacy. You're creating the barriers and then telling these Black people that the problem is the system. It's not. The problem is you. The problem is you pushing this lie that people based on their skin color can't achieve something, or based on your skin color, you have more power or more privilege or more of an advantage.
Every time I look at the flag, I feel mistrust. I don't trust it, especially now. Whenever you like drive by somebody's house and they got the American flag, I'm like, they voted for Trump.
See?
And that's messed up.
See?
Like, and I'm gonna be real about that. Like that think, it just, my head goes into that direction.
Exactly. And that's what they want. The people that are doing this to us, that's what they want. They want you to associate the flag with your enemy. No one in here voted for Trump. I think it's pretty obvious, but they want you to associate it with being a Trump supporter or being a Republican or being MAGA. They want you to instantly think flag equals bigot. It equals racist. It equals white supremacist. This is by design, y'all.
And so on January 6, 2021, inspired by a distorted view of history, emboldened by the presumption of privilege, and terrified at the prospect of a more colorful America, of angry white folk laid siege to the nation's capital.
No. You know damn well why people went into the Capitol. You know damn well. America is already colorful. They're acting as if the people that are storming the Capitol are just all racist and they just want America to be white. This is exactly like the responses that I get when I voted for Trump. Oh, I just want to help white people. Oh, it couldn't be because I actually appreciate his policies compared to Mr. Hairy Legs in office. It couldn't be that, right? It was just, I want to help white people. I want to be white, right?
January 6th was a lashing out against Black and brown people
for
having voted in Joe Biden.
Yeah. There were no MAGA voters. None that were Black. They were all white. No Latino MAGA voters. None of that. No, just all white people. I am internally struggling right now because my newfound faith in Christ is challenging me because I want to call these people some not nice things. I'm trying so hard not to. I'm gonna have to go pray and read the Bible later to counter how I'm feeling about this documentary, if I'm being honest.
What hurts me about January 6th?
Nothing hurts you.
Is not the craziness that I saw white people doing, because I believe that is them all day and 2 times on Sunday.
So white people are just crazy? What are Black people? What are they? Can you give me some words for Black people? By the way, me included, since, it's weird because a lot of people in this documentary, they want people to be a part of a collective. But then if I oppose this documentary, I'm no longer a part of that collective. It almost seems like skin color doesn't really matter. It's just about politics.
What really, really upsets me, they didn't even tase white people. If we would have even assembled with the same...
Ashley Babbitt, remember her? It's this comparison. It's too much comparing.
Just going back to that day is very emotional. I mean, because the next day, I had a little mini breakdown. All of this shit. And I mean, COVID,
you had a breakdown?
All the protests and being arrested.
Yeah?
I was punched in the face in Philly by a white man at a protest.
Yeah?
in the Capitol building. That just put a stamp on it.
I'm sorry that you were traumatized from what you witnessed, sir. But if you were not equally as traumatized with what happened in 2020 over the summer, I should get your head checked out.
So that wave of trauma that you hit that was very physical, how much of it is tied into thinking about what it's like to be black and what you have to face?
A majority of it is tied into that.
This is what propaganda does, is it adds layers upon layers of unnecessary fear and trauma. So now you have January 6th where white and black people participated, but because of propaganda, it just makes it seem like this is just a racist thing. This is just white people. These are just people that want to amplify whiteness and keep white supremacy going. And it creates this psychosis, this feeling that you're in a sea of racists instead of a sea of people that want to protect their freedoms.
Mental health is super important, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable in front of whomever. It's okay to cry and let shit out, man, and that's what I needed to do.
Imagine I made a show with all white people. It would get canceled before it's even shown.
I'm running.
Is that it?
Like OJ.
Okay, well, we're just gonna move it along here and oh look, 4,000 downvotes. So what do I think about this documentary, the first episode? This is gonna be the only episode I react to because to be perfectly honest with you guys, if I were to sit there and give a response to every single argument, this would be a 5-hour-long video. There was a lot of things that weren't based in fact. There were personal experiences being passed off as truth, as like this is something that affects the general population of black people. A lot of propaganda, and I just don't have the energy to sit here and counter every single argument that I hear in this. When this trailer first came out, I was very upset because I believed that it was going to create more racial tensions, and I don't necessarily think that anymore because I've seen so much pushback from a lot of black folks that are rejecting this, and it warms my heart. Like, I know that these people are out there, but just seeing how many content creators with massive platforms are also rejecting this, I think that's going to help balance out a lot of the radicalization that this documentary aims to promote. And because that's the thing, the people that are going to watch this and think that this is all such a great documentary, it's so informative, and when you put a label of documentary on something, it's going to present the assumption that this is all truth. And I think that there is more pushback than I anticipated, that the people that actually believe this stuff is going to be a very small minority. Overall, I'm not surprised of what I saw. I knew I was getting into this when I started watching it, but it makes me so happy to see so many people reject this propaganda for what it is. People that are in power, the people that are doing this to us, realize they're losing their grip on the black population, and I think a lot of people are coming to terms that they're being used. Case in point, Malcolm X, and how he even said that people that keep voting for the Democrat Party are being played for as chumps.
The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump. A political chump. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race. And what kind of alibi do they come up with? They try and pass the buck to the Dixiecrats. Now, back during the days when you were blind, deaf, and dumb, ignorant, politically immature, naturally you went along with that. But today, as your eyes come open and you develop political maturity, you're able to see and think for yourself. And you can see that a Dixiecrat is nothing but a Democrat.
And I think we are reaching that point in society where Black people are realizing that, you know, a large population of them are. And so Democrats, they're going to need a new group to victimize. And I believe it's the LGBT. If you can find a group of people and victimize them to the point that they think they are at the mercy of the white man and white supremacy and capitalism, if you can find a group that is willing to victimize themselves, you will be able to use them as permanent voters. That is just a fact. So yeah, this was a piece of garbage. Thank you for sitting with me as I reviewed this. I will never do it again. I have no desire to. But if there's another type of video you want me to react to, let me know in the comments. My name is Gothix, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you want to keep my grift going, consider picking up some official merch by visiting nosisnos.com/Gothix or joining my locals community at gothix.locals.com for more content. As always, you can help amplify my message by giving this video a thumbs up and by sharing it online with your friends. Until next time.